3. It just is crazy. So let's get started. We are on 2,165 days since Richard was forcibly removed from his barracks room there on Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas, because he was a whistleblower. And there's been a huge paper trail about that, a huge investigative trail about that, and now it's leading to why he was forcibly taken. Um, that his protection, because as a whistleblower he had 24-hour protection, was removed, and then they went in there and removed him, took him down to the basement room, and took his life. Why the basement room? That's the arms room. It's limited access. You have to have a special clearance to access the arms room. And it is also a soundproof room. And we know that because of the seal on the door. We know that that was a crime scene. We know that there was an illegal order given by General Eisenhower to renovate that room, meaning destroy evidence, with no expense spared, with no normal protocol, just renovate, fully renovate, whatever it cost, and to destroy the evidence. So, and why would this be? Why would a general do that? Why? What is the common denominators here? What are they involved in? Why are our military uh, command structure compromised? And this was in 2020. Okay. Why are they compromised at the border? Because El Paso is right on the border. What is going on there? What was Richard whistleblowing on? Well, we know that he was whistleblowing to Child Protective Services, so that should tell you a little bit about what he was whistleblowing. But he was also whistleblowing to IG, right? He was also whistleblowing to the police and to FBI and to Washington, D.C., and to the CID, um, and, 911 calls, right? So we know that that's been on the record. And we know that he started making these complaints, signing his name, because they are connected with Qatar, because he was deployed in Qatar, tomato. And we talked to him. He's our son. We talked to him, and he was really disturbed at what he saw there going on at the Strait of Hormuz within his unit leadership. Okay, the leadership. He really, really complained to us about his leadership. So much so that, he was making rank so fast. And I was like, wow, Richard, soon you're going to be an NCO. And he was like, nope, I am going to keep my head low, do my time. And I don't want to be part of this leadership. Okay. That's how bad the leadership was. He didn't want to be any part of it. And this is from a distinguished honor graduate, the number one in his class for basic training and AIT. He was absolutely disgusted by the leadership of his unit. And now we know why, and we know what they did to him, right? Because they were involved in criminal activity. Um, so what else have we found out lately that Connell Wenton has revealed to us, confessed, right? Connell Wenton has confessed. And who is Connell Wenton? Connell Wenton is the assistant special agent in charge there at the El Paso FBI office. He probably has one of the longest tenures in that office. I think he has seen 5, 6 different special agent in charge. He's really the major. He is the fixture, the major fixture, the constant fixture in the El Paso FBI office. He's also the most corrupt and compromised in that office. And there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them, even active duty soldiers that are wearing two hats, being active duty FBI at the same time as being active duty U.S. Army. And, that's illegal. That's just illegal. But they're operating a really big um, enterprise, criminal enterprise that is connected, of course, with the El Paso cartel, with the Sinaloa cartel, with the Juarez cartel, with the CJNG cartel, with La Linea as part of Juarez, but I want to name it, the Gulf cartel also. And that has come up. And did I say, let's see, I probably missed one there because they're running a conglomerate, an enterprise, a criminal enterprise that requires an alliance with several cartels. And it's just, billions of dollars. Um, and of course, this is besides the human trafficking and the child trafficking, which is human trafficking, but you have the whole migrant. They like to put a nice name on it, but they really mistreat those migrants and exploit those migrants totally. So that it's really human trafficking, and then of course the child trafficking um, for sexual exploitation and huge money. Of course, all the drugs and the weapons. And now the connection with, and this is all connected to Richard because he was the whistleblower that was willing to say everything that he knew. Uh, so much so that they sneaky Pete Ray Velarde assigned him as Richard's lawyer, as counterintelligence, really counterintelligence. The cartel wanted to know what Richard was signing his name to, what he was whistleblowing on. And, and of course, soon after that, Richard was taken down to the arms room on Fort Bliss, and his life was taken. And then his body, this was an organized operation, a red, um, code red, right? And they dismembered his body. There's evidence that indicates there's organ harvesting, and that his partial remains then were trafficked to Juarez across the border, international border, to be disposed of. And that's where Plenitude Crematorium comes in, right? Plenitude Crematorium, owned by the owners of Argo Oil and Gas. The Rosa Maria Purchase Ariano Corone family. I believe she's a Ramirez too. They use several different names because they're involved in criminal activity, and they are always trying to juggle to um, divert or avert prosecute or consequences, right? So this family was running, of course, this funeral fraud, flesh peddling operation that is tied to group of purchase, which, if you live in the area, you absolutely know group of purchase. It's like almost a monopoly, almost, not quite, almost the monopoly on funeral homes. And they get a lot of government contracts and things like that. And Ariano Carone was running the Plenitude Crematorium that's connected to Group of Purchase. And But they were involved, of course, are cartel. They're absolutely cartel, and they're involved very closely with Connell Wenton. Connell Wenton has been instrumental in hiding them out, right? Hiding them out and protecting them from uh, prosecution. And so, he is um, the major uh, person that we're focusing on because months ago I told you that we had gotten hard evidence that he is the one that leaked our son's identity to the cartel. Okay, because Richard was a whistleblower, of course, he was talking to the FBI, and the FBI, Connell Wenton, leaked Richard's identity to the cartel, making him responsibility for the target on his back, making him responsible for the taking of our son's life. So that was a few months back, and now we know that he has done even more harm. And why? Why would he go to these lengths to take out a U.S. Army soldier, right? Why would he go to these lengths to protect a narco crematorium that had over 400 bodies there that were giving um, so many families urns full of crushed, pulverized construction material and calling it the ashes of their loved ones? That kind of fraud, and I'm sure insurance fraud and all that. Um, it, you know, it, who would want to protect that, right? Who would want to defend that? Who would want to hide people out? And who am I talking about too? Mario Campus's mother involved in this. It's the very people that are supposed to be identifying the bodies, like how can purchase identify the bodies of the 400 plus that were in the Plenitude Crematorium when they raided it, if those bodies are with purchase funeral homes, but purchase funeral homes is tied to the narco crematorium. You know, it's um, it's kind of like Sam Madrano, right? Judge Sam Madrano, instrumental in being part of the orchestration of the Walmart mass shooting, and then presiding over the very Walmart mass shooting case. Um, so that's why there is um, uh, silencing, sealing, um, and trying to hide everything because whatever is there, like the Mayella connection, implicates Sam Madrano. And we have taken 6 years to collect all of their information that has come through the cracks. And, that has, it's kind of like a drip of a faucet. You think it's not bad, but then you put a bucket underneath it and, you have all of this information, all of this water, right? So over these years, we've just kept very vigilant and earned a lot of trust from people, and also, uh, scoured the news and everything to collect information that would help us put together this whole enterprise, this whole operation that will lead us to our son and his remains. And this is, why we have so much information. Um, Yeah, because, you have to a lot of times take screenshots right away because they're always, like, thinking, "Oh, maybe we shouldn't put that out, maybe," they're always trying to cover for themselves. So you have to be really vigilant and always, uh, documenting everything that's going on, and that's what we've tried to do. So what has this documentation, these stepping stones, these pieces of the puzzle, what have they revealed? What have they led to? Um, in regards to Richard, okay? In regards to Richard and his remains, and that is to Huachicol, okay? To Huachicol. Now, if you're an American, you probably don't know. Maybe you don't know. Maybe you do. Maybe you don't know what Huachicol is. It is the slang word in Mexico for fuel theft. Okay. So this is really important because these, this, you know, the El Mayo, the Walmart, Richard's case, it all leads this path that we have collected the stones, right, has led to Huachicol. And that is absolutely billions of dollars of theft from Mexico, okay, from the Mexican Pemex, and I would even say from Fort Bliss, maybe El Paso too, that they were stealing fuel. Because the way they steal the fuel is they will hijack by gunpoint the truck that's carrying the tank of fuel. And, what's stopping them from doing that in El Paso? What's stopping them from doing that on Fort Bliss? If they can forcibly remove a soldier from his barracks room to take him downstairs in a basement room to take his life and then to steal his body off of post and across the border to for disposal, um, they can absolutely. We know that there is weapons theft and uh, um, ammunition theft and all the children and the movies, the worst type of movies against children. Um, so, and then of course all the drugs and the alcohol and this and that. They were absolutely, it's not far reaching to say they were stealing the fuel, right? That they had somebody that was a fuel distribution soldier, right? That they had a soldier that was in charge of fuel distribution. And that, it just happened to be that 143 is in charge of fuel distribution. That's an important, um, it's not 343, right? It's not 243, it's 143, the very unit Richard was in. So, um, really huge revelations coming out. And you have this case, you have several cases, and we're reading them right here. I don't want to show you, but we're reading all these cases on the fuel theft there at the border. Billions of dollars, just major damage to Mexico. Okay. Pemex is the Mexican national fuel company, whatever. It's a national owned. And when you have it being siphoned illegally, or you have your truck drivers that drive these tanks of fuel hijacked, right? Um, this is a national security issue for Mexico. Very clearly, I can tell why they're very upset right now. Um, the this was an operation. The Jensens, let's just talk about them. And I think I have some pictures that I put up. Here's here's the wah-chee-KAHL, the wah-chee-KAHL. That is the wah-chee-KAHL. That's this word here, pronounced wah-chee-KAHL, right? Um, and that is the Mexican slang for stolen, smuggled, uh, adulterated fuel, or fake watered down alcoholic beverages. So this is important for everyone to know. Then this is the family that was smuggling cartel oil that is in the court system right now. July 14th is an important date in this. Um, and then this is their house in Sandy, Utah, and they have two sons. I think she has been dismissed from this, and one of the sons, but two of them um, absolutely are in hot water for this huge fuel theft. And, look at their house. I think it was, way over $9 million for this house. So they absolutely um, are key to Richard because they did not do this alone. They did it with the cartel, the very cartel that are in alliance with the El Paso cartel. So the CJNG, the Juarez cartel, the Sinaloa cartel, they are in alliance with the El Paso cartel, so nothing happens without them knowing. And the Jensens absolutely have been, um, you know, running this fraud for years, and the greater fraud even for decades. So, that this is in the court, that President Trump wants justice on this, is very, very important and linked to the same El Paso cartel. Um, and and we will um, see how this whole case progresses, because there's been some funny business with it, but it's back in there now. And it will it lead to revealing um, the El Paso cartel operatives and double agents? Um, yeah, that's what we're looking out for. Okay, that's what we're looking out for, because they absolutely are responsible for taking our son's life. So, okay. It is, that is really the message I want to get out, because think about this. You have an FBI agent that is willing to do an authorized operation into a foreign country, and in this case, Mexico, to illegally kidnap El Mayo Zapata, right? Plan his kidnapping, because he didn't do it on his own. This El Mayo Zapata has machine guns protecting him. Okay, he's just that big of a deal. And you have the FBI there, not challenging him at all, but absolutely running protection and helping him. And this is very clear by the phone and the phone calls that, you know, they were compromised. So thank you so much, everybody. This is so, and it was all protected. I'm sorry, I have to mention this, all protected by Connell Wenton, the assistant special agent in charge in the El Paso FBI office. That is, he could have done so much to stop all of this theft this theft and all of the crime that went with it, and he chose not to. So, yes, Connell Wetton is a very big player in this. He's not innocent. No, it's a big deal. So thank you so much. God bless you, and I will be back tomorrow.